the Food System Summit, this historic Food System Summit. I'm joined today, of course, by Dr. Agnes Kalibata, the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for the Food System Summit, Mirna Cunningham, President of the Fund for the Development of the Indigenous Peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean. Myrna also joins us on the advisory committee of the Food System Summit. Elizabeth Ncube, who's the president of the Pan-African Farmers Organizations, and also an advisory committee member. And then we have Marie-Claire Graf, a vice chair on our Food System Champions. So really warm welcome to all our panelists. We're going to start off with just a few brief remarks from our special envoys, starting with our special envoy to kind of kick us off on this historic summit. Dr. Kalibata, over to you.
Thank you, Kate. Can you hear me? Very good. Thank you. Thank you for those introductory remarks. And thank you all for being here. And I'm really happy to be with the three ladies that have been part of this journey until today. We've worked with the Indigenous peoples with your support, Mirna Cunningham. We've reached millions of people through 270 different organizations of Indigenous people across 7 regions. We've worked with youth, huge networks of youth. We've worked with producers. Elizabeth, it's good to have you on board. We've reached through your networks, we've reached millions of smallholder farmers, but also through Nsimadala's network on the Asian continent, we've reached over 83 million smallholder farmers. We've worked with lots and lots of stakeholders through dialogues, what we are calling independent dialogues, of 1,500 independent dialogues that provide space for people to really come together and dialogue without any discomfort, but also we provided member state dialogue opportunities, and we now have over 150 member states that are doing dialogues. So really a great honor to have been part of the leadership and to have led this summit to this day. And I look forward to this conversation, and I look forward to all your questions and comments. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Dr. Kalibata. Mirna Cunningham, over to you for some brief remarks. And it would be great to say, really appreciate the amount of work that you've put in to ensure that dialogues have happened in 7 regions, and more than 1,200 Indigenous peoples have been participating. Over to you.
Thank you, and thank you for participating in this conversation. Indigenous peoples have been supporting the summit process since Secretary General Guterres announced the summit in 2019. We have organized dialogues in the 7 sociocultural regions with almost 300 Indigenous peoples organizations participated. Women, youth, food producers, hunters, fishers, farmers, gatherers, herders, and pastoralists were represented in those dialogues. We have also produced a white Wipala paper on Indigenous peoples' food system, which was developed with the support of FAO, Indigenous Peoples Unit, and has been accepted by the scientific group of the summit as a reference document. We have participated in this process through 2 reasons. One, because we want our voice to be heard, and we want to really change the situation in which our natural resources, our territories are being violated in most part of the world. In contrast, we also want to explain that Indigenous people's food systems are sustainable and equitable. Our traditional food systems are the basis of our identities, health, well-being, livelihood, and survival. But for their resilience to be maintained, we require full recognition of our rights to land, water, seeds, free, prior, and informed consent, and self-determination. Today, our food systems, our ways of life are under severe threat. So because of the diminishing access to land and water. So that's why we are here today, because we want joint commitments that will bring about real solutions. We are convinced that our time-tested ancestral knowledge about sustainability and harmony with nature will make contribution to this process. We are very pleased to announce that there's an emerging Indigenous Peoples Food System Coalition that aims to ensure understanding, respect, recognition, inclusion, and protection of Indigenous food system. And we will continue working after the summit. We appreciate the support of member states like Canada, Dominican Republic, Finland, Mexico, New Zealand, Norway, and Spain, and other strategic partners, including the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, the Global Hub on Indigenous Peoples Food System, FAO, IFAD, and the World Food Programme. This coalition will include Indigenous peoples from the 7 sociocultural regions. And as Indigenous peoples, we are ready and willing to continue working with the states, with the United Nations, with private sector, and all stakeholders that are willing to work with us in good faith. We commit to be part of the solution. And we really recognize that it has been possible to work with Dr. Kalibata and with the Secretariat during these 18 months to be able now to come and begin to build our coalition so we can all work together to solve this big problem that is hunger in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Myrna. That was beautifully put and very exciting news, and indeed. And so thanks for sharing that. Elizabeth, you represent 80 million farmers across 50 African countries. Amazing. You're a powerhouse for sure. Can we open it up to you and for a few brief remarks about your point of view from representing those 80 million farmers and what this summit process has meant for you?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kate. And let me start by congratulating the Special Envoy, the UN Secretary General, the DSG, and everyone that has walked this journey, which has been worth walking. And what I can start with is that the summit process has been a true definition of what we would call a people's summit. It has been very inclusive. It has been diverse, right from the advisory committee. We've had different constituencies well represented in the action tracks, in the Champions Network, national dialogues, and independent dialogues, which have really brought millions of stakeholders together. And as producers, from crop farmers, livestock keepers, fishers, foresters, and other types of producers, we held several independent dialogues at all levels, right from national, regional, continental, up to the global level. And these dialogues resulted into a global common position, which was presented at the pre-summit, and with additional views from other constituencies. We've also submitted it to the summit. So we've seen game-changing solutions from different constituencies, over 400 game changers from producer organizations, indigenous peoples, and the civil society, which for me is a very, very big achievement. And having said that, we have really high hopes now that the summit is here. The summit for us we see it as a global unified takeoff moment. It is today that we decide, that the globe decides to take off with the implementation of the bold actions and the different commitments at national level and in our respective organizations and constituencies that we represent. We want to see this summit as a shift moment from rhetoric to action. I think we've done a lot of talking And the time is now to move away from the talk to the real action. So as producer organization, what we would want to see is an inclusive and mutual partnership built. We want to see relevant investments put forward to strengthen farmers' organizations and all value chain processes. There is need for equity everywhere. Producers have been calling for equity, for fairness, for rebalancing of power, and the urgency to give food its true value. That is the satisfaction that the summit can give to the producer organizations globally. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you. Can you hear me? Thank
Yes,
you so much. Yeah, thanks you so much, Elizabeth. And absolutely right. Love the time is now, right? This is really the start of the real work, which is also echoed by statements from the special envoy. So we're really short on time, and I do apologize, but I want to make sure that I can turn it over now to Marie-Claire for a few comments. I'm not sure I see you now, Marie-Claire. I'm not sure if you're having problems. Oh, there you are. I'm not going to say what you're going to announce. I would love for you to announce your exciting news. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you so much for allowing us to be part of the press briefing. And let me start first with the exciting news. Yesterday night, we reached 100,000 pledges for our youth declaration, and we are very, very excited. This means that we have building over the last 1.5 years a massive movement of young people who are ready, who are committed, who really want to go and change the food system and be part of this food system transformation. They have been pledging to various actions they are doing themselves, but also what they expect others, the world leaders during the summit, to do. So young people have been coming together and have been through various processes, working all together. And that was very, very exciting that also we could really reach a lot of young people on the front lines. We could reach young people in various countries and regions all over the world through various different settings. So we are very happy that we could reach this momentum just basically the night before the summit. And we are very much looking forward how we can now really bring this to action, because we have been talking a lot, but now we need to commit to action. That's where we need everyone to join us and be on board. Thank you so much, Kathy, and everyone being here.
Thank you so much, Marie-Claire. And I remember a year ago, we started this journey with a 24-hour, I don't know what we were thinking, but a 24-hour kickoff for the Summit on World Food Day. And it was really, even then, the mobilization of youth was very apparent. So I'm not surprised you've reached 100,000, and I won't be surprised when you reach 1 million. So with that, I just wanted to open it up quickly for I don't see any journalist questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you can raise your hand. We could open up your mic. We have just 10 minutes. So I don't see any questions yet. Perhaps I'm not seeing it, but what I would like to do is maybe have a question to some of our panelists. Dr. Kalibata, you've just heard from these three amazing, powerful women. What is this? Do you find this is something indicating how we're starting this summit off? And what is your expectation in the next 24 hours?
Thank you, Katie. In terms of expectation in the next 24 hours, I mean, you just had Marie-Claire, 100 is becoming the number, with 100 member states that now have national pathways ready to go, that have strategies on what they'll be doing differently. With 100,000 youth being reached, I mean, the level of mobilization in terms of people, but also the level of action, commitment to action is huge in this summit. So I'll be looking for action. I'll be looking to hear what people are committing to, and I will be looking to how prepared we are to go forward, because this becomes the turning point of our food system.
Thank you. Elizabeth, a question for you. You know, you joined us here in Rome for the pre-summit, and you spoke very passionately at a farmers market, a local Italian farmers market, about particularly women's farmer role and how you connect to the consumer and how you have that connection within the marketplace. Maybe you could kind of repeat your remarks there for us now. It was super powerful. I really, truly remember it.
I don't know if I can remember the remarks that I said then, but basically, when you look at the Africa continent, it's patriarchal. It has been based on patriarchal systems where women don't have access to resources, including land, access to the means of production, including financing. And again, when you look at the percentage of the population that is involved in the agriculture sector, it is the women. They cover the biggest percentage of the participation in agriculture sector. But when it comes to the return on the investment, I think women, they usually walk away with nothing because it's the men that usually control the economic sector. So having said that, I think this summit comes timely where we need to empower women economically. We need to invest in women. We need to have special packages that are gender focused. We need to have initiatives that have a gender lens. And I've been seeing this happening. I mean, there has been a call to empower more women into participation along the agriculture value chains. And it's a call again for action for all the global leaders to make sure that they put women at the center of the food systems. Thank you, and over.
What concrete measures do you want to see taken to ensure that this entire coalition and the silos that have been broken down stay that way, and that people actually can demand that the commitments that are made are followed through on? Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks, Teresa. And I think Agnes was just slightly, I'll just repeat very quickly. I think she had somebody in her ear. So Agnes, the question from Teresa from DevEx is, how are we going to ensure accountability and taking this process forward and the commitments that we're going to be hearing later today?
So thank you so much. Excuse me. Yeah. So you'll excuse me. So thank you so much. I'm in this place where they are setting up. But the question that you asked with regards to how we ensure that we get accountability going. Luckily, this whole process has really been about engaging lots of people. We have lots of constituencies engaged. We have youth, we have civil society, we have farmers, and this has been about raising awareness too. So everybody does understand what is at stake. Everybody does understand what holding people accountable looks like. So I want to believe that member states will want to hold themselves accountable. I want to believe that businesses want to hold them accountable, but should they not? That's the reason we are here as constituencies. That's the reason we provide a space for constituencies, so that we can question and ask about the accountability mechanisms that are being put in place now, and whether they are being followed, and whether they are going to be, they really demonstrate that we can come through on the things we say will come through. So we are counting on you to ensure that we all come through on the accountability we are talking about today.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, and thank you, Dr. Kalibata. Unfortunately, we have 3 minutes left, and I'm struggling because I wanted to make sure Mirna and Marie-Claire, you could get your voice in as well. Mirna, rapid fire question. You've announced the coalition. It's very exciting. In 1 minute, tell us, what is the first priority for that coalition?
The first priority is to articulate more stakeholders to participate in the coalition from the 7 indigenous peoples from the 7 regions, member states, other private sector, academia, and begin to work and ensure that our indigenous food system are really supported and highlighted from now until in the next 2 years when we will evaluate the outcomes of this summit.
It's super exciting. Thank you. Marie-Claire, I guess the future, you get the last word. You're our future, you're our biggest hope. The pressure's on. What is the priority for the 100,000 pledges that you just announced? Unmute Marie-Claire's mic. Can you unmute?
Yes, perfect. Now it works. Thank you so much. Yes, as already mentioned, we have 100,000 young people signing the pledge, being ready, being committed to do this. We already have been doing this in the past, by the way, and we have a very, very short timeline left. So the only question is now, are you ready? Are you joining us? We are committed. We will bring it to the World Climate Conference happening in a month. We are going to bring it to the biodiversity COPs. We are implementing it on the ground. But as already mentioned also by Mirna, we cannot do this alone. We need everyone on board, and especially we need the member states on board. And we hope that as many member states as possible join us and integrate young people in the implementation process, because young people are not only here to be a decoration or to say something, but no, we want to be part of the transformation to make sure that the future generations as well have a future and a sustainable and healthy diet, nourishing us, the people, but also nourishing the planet.
Well said. And a great lasting comment. It's about everybody coming to the table and everybody working from this point on. The summit is not the end. It is a starting point. We have 9 harvests left to get this right. So everybody needs to come on board. If we could unmute everybody, you will be hearing from these wonderful women later today, starting in just 30 minutes. This historic summit will get started, and we hope that you'll join and listen in to their interventions over the next few hours. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Marie-Claire.
Thank you,
Elizabeth.
Katie.
Mirna.
Thank you.
And of course, the journalists. Thank you.
Thank you.